Hey, everybody. Grant Miller here, Miami Community News. I'm with Rosie, who's running for sheriff. It's pretty exciting. I've heard a lot of great things about you. So we're going to start from when you were a kid, know a little bit about you, to the present.
Awesome.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in New York City, Manhattan to be exact, and then I went to high school in Flushing, Queens.
Flushing's... Wait, isn't there a football stadium, a baseball stadium there?
Yeah. So it used to be Shea Stadium back there. I think it's City Field
okay,
now.
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, City Field. And then I went to college in upstate New York, Poughkeepsie. I graduated Marist.
Poughkeepsie?
Poughkeepsie, yeah,
Okay.
Poughkeepsie. Marist College, class of 91, where I have my bachelor's in criminal justice.
And then how'd you move from New York to Miami?
So my parents divorced when I was really young, and I often say that I ended up with two good homes. Right?
Oh, lucky you.
I was very fortunate. I'm still blessed to this day. So my dad retired from his job up in New York and moved to South Florida, to Miami Beach specifically. So
And what years were that?
Oh, gosh. I was in high school. So I'd say 83 to 87.
It's a new world now.
Yeah. Well, I learned to drive on Ocean Drive when you could throw a bowling ball down Ocean Drive, nothing there.
Right.
Yeah. So I would spend every summer on Miami Beach. So when I graduate college and I can't get a job, there's a freeze in NYPD because I always wanted to be a police officer. I was 5 when I was telling my mom I was going to be a cop. I decided to move to South Florida and start looking here. And I went on the job with Miami-Dade, then Metro-Dade, in 1996.
And where was your first job, first location as a cop in Miami?
Oh, I was a North Side officer in what is Northwest Miami-Dade.
Northwest.
area. Mm-hmm.
That's Miami Lakes.
So no, actually North Side District. So Central District back then was
Carroll City.
So even further, so North Side is back then it was 103rd Street on the north boundary till about Hialeah, 54th Street.
Right.
And then the city of Miami on the east side, all the way to Hialeah.
Wow.
So
It was
I worked a very busy area. It was a very busy and active area, the busiest in the county.
Okay, and then after that, how many years were you in the North Side?
So I was in Northside for about 2 years as a police officer in patrol. And then I went to robbery intervention detail as a detective. But even though I was out of headquarters, we still worked in that area a lot, obviously. So I was assigned to specialized unit, robbery intervention detail. We worked, many people know RID now because it actually was in its infancy back then, had just pretty much started. I did RID for approximately... You're really going to get me on these years, huh? Because this is going back now in my career.
Okay, didn't have to be exact, couple years.
Okay, so let me go back. I apologize because I forgot that I left the road and did a couple of years as a detective in general investigations in Northside before I went to RID. So I did do burglary, assaults, simple assaults, and then left Northside District and went to RID.
Okay, then after Northside, Red, what did you do then?
Okay, so after RID, while I was in RID, I went back to obtain my master's degree. I went to school part-time, FIU, graduated at FIU.
Your master's in what?
In public administration. I knew then that I definitely wanted to start to advance my career and felt that it was a good time to start to get my education under my belt, further my education. So I graduated, I would say, probably early 2000 from FIU with my master's degree. And then I got promoted. Then I went to homicide. I did 5 years as a homicide detective with our homicide bureau.
That was in the years
2000 to 2005. I was in homicide as a detective.
And who was the director then?
The director then would have been
Taylor.
I was hired under Taylor. I wanted was it Parker or
maybe, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So homicide.
Yes, I did homicide for 5 years. Mm-hmm. Some of the most incredible work I'd ever done as an investigator. You're the voice for someone who literally does not have a voice, and you are there to be that person for the family. It was an incredible work, some of the most fulfilling work I'd ever done.
And after that,
So after 5 years as a homicide detective, I decided that I wanted to start the promotional process. I got promoted to the rank of sergeant, and I went back to RID.
and how many? Not a lot of women are sergeants.
Well,
I don't need the count, but
yeah,
but
there's not a lot of women in law enforcement to begin with. There's not a lot of women in homicide. There were not a lot of women. There was not throughout my career. That's just definitely been something that has always been. I've always been in a minority situation when it came to my sex. That's just my reality. But I'll be honest with you, I never went around worried about it.
No,
I
but
think
I'm curious because
because people ask that question.
Police work, it's so hard, and on top of it all, and there's a shortage of police officers. I don't know about Miami-Dade, but I know Miami Beach is short. I know Coral Gables is short, and it's tough getting people that are dedicated to make, I say South Florida a better place.
Yeah.
I'm giving my editorial on it. It's like firemen and police officers, they're paid too much. And all of a sudden, when they save your child's life, you go, oh my God, they're worth every penny.
Yeah.
Being a cop now, it's so important to keep our community strong. And I'm a big supporter of the Miami-Dade police. Okay, so all right, so you went from detective, you went into homicide.
Yep. And then so I became a sergeant. I went back to robbery intervention detail as a sergeant.
As all Dade County or in a certain area?
So that's all Dade County. It was a task force. It's a county-wide task force, and we dedicated ourselves to going after the most violent robbery suspects in the county. And that unit still is very active today. Several years ago, we had the unfortunate death of one of our officers in the line of duty, which kind of brought that unit to the forefront. So I was involved for so many years with that unit with RID. It is really an inherent part of my growing up in law enforcement. And I say that because, one, it's where I met my husband.
That's important.
It's very important.
How long have you been married?
We've been married for 17 years, but we were friends for 10 years, and he'd asked me
Before
out.
that?
Yeah. So I've known him for a really long time.
So he asked you out for 10 years?
Yeah, on and off for 10 years, and I just
This guy, he's persistent.
Yeah. He told the story literally at our wedding, standing up at the altar, or lack of a better word, in front of everyone. He told the pastor, he made me tell the story how he kept asking me out, and I kept saying, no, it's not going to work. We're good friends, and we'll always be good friends, but nothing more.
Well, now you're best of friends.
And we are, and we still have today, like we did back then.
And you have offspring?
We do. We have one son, Evan, who is 14 years old, and he's awesome. He's really great.
Is that 8th grade?
He is a 9th grader. He's a freshman in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. So
the fun begins.
It does.
Okay.
Keeps us busy.
All right. So you went from homicide to.
So I go to.
The reason I'm asking all this, I want people to know a little bit about you, because this sheriff needs to know what's going on in the whole community, and then we're going to talk about the sheriff job. So after
this is good. So after I'm a sergeant in RID, then I go and I become a sergeant in internal affairs. And I do that for 2 years. Yes.
Internal affairs, explain that. What that is.
So internal affairs is tasked with obviously investigating any accusations of misconduct by our officers, right? First and foremost. It's a unit that the investigators are only supervisors, only sergeants conduct the investigations. I was there for about 2.5 years, and I was promoted out of that to the rank of lieutenant. When I became a lieutenant, I went back to patrol, and I went to the Intracoastal District, which is northeast.
Under Sunny Isles.
Correct, exactly, right along that whole beach corridor area. And I was in patrol, back to uniform patrol duties, and back to a district. And as I was the afternoon platoon commander, which meant that I was basically the police chief every afternoon. Right? Because everyone else has gone home.
Right.
And as the quote-unquote rookie lieutenant, you're in charge of that entire district. Basically, you are the highest commanding officer.
Yeah, that's, people say that's Hollover.
Yes.
Right.
Hollover Beach, absolutely. That's great. Just south of Aventura,
Right.
Because the people know Aventura Mall very well, so that kind of gives them some
Most people,
perspective.
we'll talk about later, but most people don't know what UMSA is. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so you're back on the street.
So I'm back in patrol, back on the streets. And then from there, I am sent to economic crimes. I become a lieutenant in Economic Crimes Bureau, and I'm the head of the Mortgage Fraud Task Force. If you remember, during that time, we were going through a crisis with mortgage fraud in Dade County, and I was tasked with being the lieutenant over that under Carlos Alvarez. And I worked working those very proactive, very high-profile mortgage cases for I'd say about a year and a half, and then I was tasked with being the public information officer lieutenant. I oversaw media, PIO. I was a PIO for the Miami-Dade Police Department.
What period of time was that?
I'd say, 2008.
Okay, so all right. So we're going to get to, so you've done almost everything in the police department, from being on the streets
I have.
to homicide, mortgage fraud, economic crime,
Yes, internal affairs.
internal affairs.
I haven't even gotten to human resources. I ran that as a major, started the whole engine again when we started hiring officers. Remember, we went through a freeze,
Right.
budgetary, and then we had to start up that engine. So literally going from not hiring officers for years to starting to process hundreds and hundreds of files and making sure that they were the highest quality, right, of candidates, because we talked about the integrity and
Right.
making sure that we got the best of the best.
All right, so now we got basic in 10 minutes. We found that everything about you is a police officer. The sheriff. Nobody understands. We're the one. I think there's only 2 counties, or is it maybe the only county?
It's just us. And
The only county in Florida that don't have a sheriff. That's the head dog.
Yep.
What is the budget of this department? Do we know?
Yeah, it'll be just under $1 billion.
And the budget of Dade County,
Is about 30.
so 10% of the budget,
Yes.
give or take, is going to be just for the
The
sheriff.
police department, yes.
And under the police
Sheriff's
department,
office, yes.
under the sheriff, is that part of the corrections?
No. So the corrections office will remain under the county government,
Fire will be under the.
under county government. It will only be the police services sheriff's office at this time.
Just to let you know, the fire chief, you know him, right?
Yes, Ray.
Very emotional. His parents owned a market just down the street. So we're talking about 40 years ago, 30 years ago. He used to be in there this big with his parents. His mother used to work to midnight, and this area was rough back then. And he was there every kid, and he told everybody he's going to be a fireman. And he became one. So
Sometimes it's just a calling.
his father passed away years ago, but his father and I were good friends because the market was connected to our property.
Right.
So every time I think of him, like, wow.
Yeah, he's a good man.
It lived a dream.
Yeah.
All right, so the fire's not under you. So it's $1 billion just.
Yes.
How many officers are there?
So there's approximately 3,200 sworn officers, and then the professional staff of about 1,700.
So there's 3,200.
Sworn. We are the largest in the southeastern United States, and will be about the 7th largest in the country.
Okay, so we got 3,200 cops, police officers, and we have 3 million people in Dade County.
Yes.
Doesn't sound like a lot of police officers.
So, there's numbers and ratios comparatively across the nation, right? And that's just how we do things. I think ultimately what we really need to focus on is being able to serve our community's needs, right? So we need to be able to listen to our community directly. And that's the one thing that the sheriff's office is going to be able to do, that is streamline that communication. Right? The sheriff is going to be able to answer to the community directly. The community elects the sheriff. The community has direct line of communication. And in turn, the sheriff gets to do what he or she has to do to provide those services to the community without the rigmarole of running around through the bureaucracy that we currently have.
Well, but right now it's appointed.
It is appointed.
Or
which
fired
means-
by one person.
Correct.
Now it's by the people, for the people, of the people.
Well, but what I mean is, for example, the budget is the budget, but the sheriff gets to dictate how that budget is spent, right?
And-
As opposed to when it goes through an entire, we all know what happens when it goes through bureaucracy. It takes time, right?
But if I remember, if the sheriff does not get the budget he wants, he go to the Capitol and ask for more money, something like that?
Yes, the sheriff will have the ability to, if they do not feel that they're being serviced correctly through the county government when it comes to money, be able to go to the state and say, this is why I don't feel, and present their case.
Okay, there's 34 cities in Dade County, not including the county.
Right.
34. People get it confused. They think Miami-Dade cops cover Pinecrest, Palmetto Bay, Aventura, Miami Gardens. No. Each city has their own police department, correct?
Right. So there are municipalities.
Didn't you do that? Can you talk about that? You did that also.
Absolutely. So basically, I like the explanation of an umbrella, right? An umbrella. Well, Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office is the umbrella that will cover the entire county. Anywhere that says Miami-Dade County in the address is Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, and we will have jurisdiction. But underneath that umbrella, there are several cities that also have their own police departments, including places like Aventura Police Department or Miami Beach Police Department, and those are independent. But there are several small cities that actually contract with Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office or Miami-Dade Police Department to provide police services, such as Village of Palmetto Bay, and those contracts we will continue to service.
Gotcha. All right. People get confused. There's a crime. Let's just say, let's use the city of Miami. There's a crime. And the police officers arrest them. Who charges them? Does the city of Miami charge them, or does the state attorney charges the crime?
So
Because people get delayed. They go, you need to charge them with a crime. The cop arrests the person. Then what happens?
So the officer will file a charge at that time, determined based on probable cause, right? However, the actual filing of the charges is done by the state. So all that part of the process is under the state.
And that's why it takes a few days, sometimes a couple hours.
Correct. And sometimes the state may disagree with the charge and say you don't quite have enough for that particular charge. They can amend the charges. And so
people get all confused.
They do.
There's an issue in Palmetto Bay, and they said, Palmetto Bay charged this person. No, they just arrested them.
Correct.
The state attorney made that decision.
Right.
Okay, got that. Okay, so we got 3,200 cops, give or take.
Yeah.
In your first 100 days, when you get elected, what are you going to do?
So,
because I know you already, I could tell you're OCD. I know you already know. Okay, tell me what you're going to do the first 100 days.
There are several things that I think that are top priority that need to be addressed immediately. First and foremost is I need to rearrange my resources that I already have on hand. And the creation of a countywide traffic unit. We have traffic. Let's make that clear. Miami-Dade Police Department has traffic units. However, they're decentralized. I will create a centralized traffic unit to address the concerns in this county. Anyone who gets in the car to drive to work every day can say that in the past several years, our traffic has drastically diminished. It is people have become much more aggressive on the road, and it is because of the decrease in presence of police officers. Unfortunately, we can't be everywhere all the time, but we need to be. We need to be more present, and we need to be enforcing those laws more. So that's number one. We are going to address some of the issues of corruption that have been going on in this county. We currently have a corruption unit already.
When you say corruption, you mean elected officials? You mean, what do you mean?
When I mean corruption, I mean corruption. The ability for any person who files a complaint against whether it is a public official, if it's a police officer, there's internal affairs and there's outside venues for that. So that we're clear, right? So because I think that a lot of people think that corruption is just a public official. No, corruption can be in other ways as well. But there's definitely avenues that we have for that. But the problem is this. The problem is that there's this perception that we don't investigate corruption. And that is just not true. It is not true. We talked a few minutes ago about investigations and arresting versus filing charges, correct?
Right.
We just had that conversation. Works exactly the same. So I want the creation where it is independent when we create this unit, right, and we conduct this investigation and we complete these case files, present them to the appropriate venue at the state attorney's office, so that it's very clear that the investigations are done, so that this community understands that the police department is in fact doing these. Unfortunately, no one wants to talk about it now. The sheriff won't have to deal with the politics that it gets hidden under anymore.
Well, it's interesting. Somebody went to court, I know, and they complained the judge didn't do something quick enough. I said, that judge had 50 cases on his or her desk that morning, 50. So, it's like the police officer, it just keeps piling up because there's just so much going on.
Correct.
Okay. So now you're at, you got 90 more days. Let me hear.
I've got 90 more. There's quite a few things that I want to do. I have to ensure also that there's a smooth transition internally for my employees. There is a sense of I don't want to use the word fear, but people are uncomfortable. They don't know what this transition means. So ensuring that the county support is in place for this transition, right? There's a lot of
Is the sheriff under the state or still in the county?
So no, the office of the sheriff is it's independent from the county, but the budget comes through the county, and they're supporting. So in other words,
the pension,
right? So
I hear all this.
Yeah,
they go, we're going to lose our pension.
You see, exactly. That's what I want to address very quickly. And just so we're clear, and everyone who's listening to me is clear, my intention is to ensure that all of Miami-Dade Police Department shifting into Sheriff's Office employees have absolutely everything, every benefit that they have earned in their entire career will remain the same. They are not going to lose anything, and I will work and ensure that happens.
What I understood is it's confusing. You just go to the state plan.
FRS is still FRS. We are an FRS.
Okay.
So that's fine. That is protected by law. Let me make that clear. Everyone can talk all they want. It is statutorily protected. FRS, if you're an FRS now, you will be an FRS after the sheriff's office. So that's number one. Number two is the payouts. Let's say, for example, you worked your entire career and you were promised that you would get X amount of hours of sick leave, let's say. If you didn't burn them, right? You would get a paycheck when you separated. But they're saying, well, the county can't promise that to you because a sheriff can change their mind about that. So that's the fear factor. So the only one who can promise that is a sheriff. So as a candidate for sheriff, I'm here to tell you, I'm going to honor that because the county has to honor that funding for that money because that's part of the transition. Now, how do I know that, Grant? I know that because I've been working for a year and a half toward this transition, even before becoming a candidate for sheriff. I've been the leader of the internal transition team within my department. It has meant that much to me to ensure that this county transition in the way that had the least problems, right? Because we deserve a safe community. We deserve this transition to happen without a major chaos. God forbid, the day before there's a transition, we have a catastrophe. Because it happens, right? We could have a Surfside. We could have a bridge collapse. These things happen. So we needed to make sure that there was a plan in place so that day one, right, of a sheriff's office, we were hitting the ground running.
Okay. So you got 2 minutes to talk about the other things about you said about transparency.
Yeah.
Let's get to that. Let's talk about that. About transparency.
First and foremost, I'm going to put up all our statistics and all so that anybody can go online and find out exactly what's going on when it comes to crime. You want to figure out what's going on in your community when it comes to burglaries in your vehicles, petty theft, or that's information that should be accessible.
So people, some people, that's a fear factor. Well, no, I think if this area has more crime, you got to tell the residents, we, the police department and the neighborhood have to work together to fix these problems.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And people go, well, there's no crime in this area. Well, we don't know that. It just hasn't been reported, or it takes, but having putting it out on transparency, everybody will know everything.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want. Information is good.
Correct. And then when I tell you that I'm focusing on this area and you say, well, why are you over there and not over here? Because this is where my crime is. Here it is. You can see it for yourself. And by addressing this here and targeting the people who are actually committing the crimes and having a better chance of catching them here, I'm going to affect the entire area's crime.
We could talk hours about this.
I could.
And we only have a few minutes left. But
I had a question for you that I wanted your input on.
Okay.
Do you remember?
No, repeat it.
Okay. So my question is I know that I want a sheriff that has experience. And I know why I answer the question. But as a citizen of Miami-Dade County, when you hear that you want a sheriff's candidate that has experience, what does that mean to you? What does it translate
to me? And I've been speaking to a lot of police officers since this sheriff thing. They want somebody who's on the street. They want somebody that understands what patrolling is. They want to know, and it's whether it's from patrolling or homicide. That's what I keep hearing, whether they're Coral Gables cops, Aventura cops, Sunny Isles, Palmetto Bay. Even though they don't answer to the sheriff,
right,
they want to know somebody that's in the ranks. It's been rare, when you hire an outside person who somebody doesn't have experience but has a good name. It's difficult. So I think that I want somebody to understand the whole system.
Okay.
For me. Right. I get pulled over a lot. A lot.
That's not good.
I get pulled over a lot. The funniest story, I get pulled over. It happened to be in South Miami 20 years ago. And they asked me for my driver's license. I said, officer, it's in my trunk of my truck. And I popped my trunk open. And I coached baseball. And I had like 500 baseballs, batting equipment, and I had to dig in the bucket where my driver's license. And I finally get an officer who says, just go to practice. Just don't speed. But point of it is, you have to have a cop that understands people.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, we're going to talk real quick. Ready? We do this all the time. We'll see how good you are. Oh, Thanksgiving, what does it mean to you? In words, not sentences, words.
Words. Family, food, and games, board games.
Favorite place that you eat fish?
Fish at home. I'm a hell of a cook.
Really?
Can I say hell? Heck of a cook.
Favorite football team?
Giants.
The
New
Giants.
New York Giants, baby. I'll own it. I own it.
But they play in New Jersey.
It's okay, though.
Okay.
They need the land.
Your favorite hamburger place or cheeseburger place?
Oh, gosh. Fuddruckers.
They do make good burgers.
Buffalo.
Okay. Birthdays. Your son's birthday?
May 8th.
Husband's?
November 27th.
You got in-laws?
Yes.
Birthdays?
April 18th and April 27th.
Parents?
Mom, April.
You got a sister's, brothers?
Okay, yeah, you're too fast. Okay, my sister's birthday is May 11th, brother May 10th, March 3rd for my other sister.
Favorite taco place?
Gosh, I'm sorry. It's I Love Tacos.
Where's that?
It's a little spot in Pembroke Pines on Pines Boulevard.
Your favorite cowboy movie?
Oh gosh.
Who's your favorite cowboy?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
We're gonna put it to the side. We're gonna put it to the side. Your favorite pizza?
Pizza Hut. Sorry, pizza. It's a thick, chewy, thick. We just had it. Okay, gosh.
Two more. Your favorite pet animal?
Oh,
favorite
Max, dog.
Who's Max?
Max is our canine, retired canine from the airport with my husband.
Wow. Your husband worked at the airport?
Yeah, he was a canine.
Favorite chicken place?
Oh, come on, man. Chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Do you know Colonel Sanders became successful at the age of 65?
See?
I still have a chance.
Spider-Man.
Wow. See, you know anything about it? Okay. All right. Okay, two more. These are the best.
God.
Your favorite sushi place?
Sushi. No.
You're not a sushi person.
No, I like sushi. I just don't know if
Cowboy movie? Come on.
Oh, God.
I love John Wayne. Who do you?
Okay, John Wayne's good.
Okay.
Sorry.
The magic of the mix. Why will you, if you get elected, why will you be successful?
When I get elected, I will be successful because I'm doing this for this community, for my employees, and for all the years of hard work and dedication I've already given to this department.
Wow. Election is when?
It is primaries August 20th and November 5th is general.
Okay, if you across the screen, we got for more information.
Yes.
Vote for Rosie. If you have any questions, look her up. It's truly an honor.
Same here.
Pleasure.
Thank you for
Everybody,
having me.
have a great day.